Welcome back to Susan Dawn's Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy update. I didn't expect to be doing this update so much on the heels or so soon on the heels of the eclipse energy, but this eclipse energy, it just feels incredible. It feels incredibly empowering. It feels like just shifting timelines. It feels very fiery, energetic. It feels really, really good. So I wanted to do a quick check-in because I woke up this morning with a music download, and it was a weird one, as music downloads really usually are. I haven't heard this song in ages, like decades. It's called She Likes Me for Me from Blessid Union of Souls. And as I was waking up, coming out of dream state, getting into twilight state, all of a sudden I hear the chorus. She likes me for me, not because I sing like Pavarotti or whatever. You know, that's the song. I'm not going to sing it, but it's so vivid in my mind that I can't help but almost like burst out into song because that's what this energy feels like. It feels like bursting out into the song. She likes me for me. Like there's this exclamation about it. And I was like, what the heck is this? What is this energy? And this energy really feels like acceptance. Acceptance and love and recognition, and again, this illumination that we've been channeling for the past couple of months now. I want to read you some of the lyrics. I'll put the link to, I think, the music video or whatever in the description box if you guys want to check it out. But the lyrics, so usually when I get a music download, it's something that reminds me of the song. It might not be the specific lyric that's the message, but it'll bring me to the song itself. And that's the only lyric of the song that I knew. So for this exclamation, this joyous like declaration to be coming in, I said, okay, there must be something more to this song. And so I looked up the lyrics, and yeah, some of the lyrics are a little bit funny. But there's a bridge where it says, I just can't live without her. My arms belong around her, and I'm so glad I found her once again. Gazing at the ceiling as we entertain our feelings in the dark, the things that we're afraid are going to show us what we're made of in the end. She likes me for me. She has got so much to offer. Why does she waste all her time with me? There must be something there that I don't see. And I'm so glad I found her once again. I'm so glad I found her once again. It is this energy of recognition. And I feel like it's coming on the heels of Divine Feminine's acceptance of herself, Divine Feminine's real anchoring into the sense of empowerment, the sense of self-honoring. And I want to share something with you guys because it's important. And I'm gonna share it in this context of I'm not just a tarot reader, and some of you guys may have seen my message on Instagram. I'm not just a tarot reader, and I've always known this. And when I do my readings, it's not just from the context of I'm going to read the cards. I'm also a teacher, and I'm also part of this collective as well, going through her own ascension journey and her own evolution. And I share my story because I want you to know that, number one, we're all going through this journey, and that I relate to you as well. The dark nights of the soul, the confusion, the ego, the runner chaser, all that stuff. I've been through it myself, and I'm still going through it in different phases, obviously, at different levels of the journey. But if you look back through my readings, my channel itself is a story of my own personal evolution through this journey. And I do readings for everybody, for the collective, but I'm part of that collective too. And when I'm sharing my story, it's because there's value there. When I hit record, that is my cue to spirit to begin channeling. And so anything that I share that's part of my personal experience, I keep many things private and I keep many things sacred. But what I'm called to share is for a purpose. And so I had a comment the other day, just do the cards. And my answer is no. No, because that is not how I work. Number two, I do not answer to such demands. Number three, this is my sacred space and my platform, and this is the way I've always been guided to share and to teach. And I'm going to continue to do it that way as long as I am guided to share and teach in that way. Because what I learned very early on doing this work is that I don't want to be just a tarot reader either. And there's no judgment. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. But I am somebody who has always gone deeper in her own journey. And that's what I wanted it to be in my business, that depth. And I want people who are going to be doing the work and who don't just want a quick fix for a tarot reading. Again, there's no judgment. You know, you can watch tarot readings for any number of reasons, and I respect all of them, truly. But that's not my work. That's not what I'm here for. And so if you are here because you want to learn, you want to keep doing the work, you want to tune into your own intuition and learn how to tune into that intuition, and I encourage that as well. You know, again, I only have a piece of the puzzle. You have your own piece of the puzzle, and that's where we have this beautiful community and this beautiful energy exchange. I learned just as much from you guys as you might from me. That's the energy exchange, and that's what the foundation of our community is all about, and that's what I appreciate so much. And that's why it's always an honor to be part of your journeys as much as I'm doing this work with you. I want you guys to not rely on readings. I want you guys to tune into your intuition, to trust in your intuition versus what anybody else is saying. That's what you have to learn on this journey. And so when I receive comments like that, it's an immediate delete and block, because I realized through receiving a lot of harassing and bullying comments on this channel over the past year, as we've expanded, as we've grown, that I'm not letting anything disturb my peace personally, and I'm not letting anything disturb the sacred space that we've created here. And of course, if you respectfully have something to share, or if you have dissenting opinions, I am incredibly open to that. But I will not tolerate rudeness, and I will not tolerate disrespect. And I will delete and block without a second thought. Because, again, we're not disturbing that peace anymore. It has been hard fought and hard earned. And that's where I stepped into over the past year. I've been going through this process. But yesterday, I really stepped into that and I said, just no more, no more. So again, dissenting opinions, amazing. I am always learning and evolving as well. And so if you have something that you want to share about the journey itself, you know, that might differ from what I teach, but that's, again, a piece of the puzzle that you might have for somebody else. This is a community, and I want it to be a community. But it is also a sacred space, and I intend to keep it sacred. And that's why, you know, I kept a lot of this to myself, because I wanted to protect the integrity of our community and the peace of our community. So I wanted to say that too. So I stepped into this energy of just accepting myself and believing in myself in a way that I have never done in my whole life. And so that acceptance, it feels like that acceptance anchoring in and integrating within the feminine energy is calling up the masculine energy to recognize her. Now, remember, you have both energies within yourself. So you have both the feminine and the masculine, and you might resonate more with a core masculine or a core feminine, depending on your journey. But you'll throughout your day go into either the masculine or the feminine. The feminine being really connected to her intuition, really connected to herself. The masculine being really grounded, really connected to the physical plane. And so as the feminine rises, as she integrates and embodies her true authentic self, without dimming her light, without people pleasing, without worrying about what other people are going to say, as she is becoming heart-centered and just living in her integrity and authenticity, the masculine is naturally going to rise. Because what's happening within the physical embodiment of the masculine. So if it's two different people, there's let's say for the sake of this example, it's non-gender specific, but for the sake of this example, you guys know I like my little, examples here. So let's say this is the feminine, this is the masculine, right? Embodied. So this is your counterpart, but merged, it's one. So merged, you have like, this is you as one, both the masculine and the feminine. So you have the feminine, you have the masculine. This is the female, this is the male, for example. And so as the female is in her inner union, feeling that peace, feeling that balance, that harmony within the polarities of the masculine and feminine within her. She's anchored into her safety and security within. She is stable. She's present. She is being able to provide for herself, while also in her feminine essence of receiving, allowing herself to receive, allowing herself to go with the flow and trust her intuition. She's leading from her sense of guidance while trusting in where she's being led, while with her masculine essence taking action on that guidance. So she's in balance with herself. This is her inner union, right? She's anchoring this in. This is what we've been anchoring in over the past 6 months, especially. The masculine counterpart, the male, for example, is over here, and as the feminine is anchoring into her inner union of the harmonization of masculine and feminine, the counterpart is anchoring in and healing the feminine aspect, which enables him to, oh my gosh, he all of a sudden gets to see the female. Before, he was looking at her in a distorted lens based on old relationships and old templates and old female distortion of his interactions that he had, number one, with maybe females or feminine energy in the past, or number two, his own distorted feminine energy within him, where he had been suppressed. The feminine energy had been suppressed, unable to express himself based on beliefs that maybe he's not a good communicator. Again, it's a belief, or beliefs that he had to keep his emotions in check. That's especially true for those in our current patriarchy. It's especially true for males. It's the boys don't cry, false belief or false teaching, the bullshit teaching, right? You can't feel your emotions. So as he's getting in touch with, as she's healing herself, because the feminine leads energetically, as she's healing herself and anchoring into that within herself, he's experiencing that too by healing the feminine energy within him. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be intimate. It's okay and safe to be expressive, especially when it comes to the pure, true energy of love. It's okay to feel love. It's safe to feel love. What you experienced in the past is in the past. And you can allow yourself to trust your intuition, especially when it comes to this heart-to-heart connection. Now, what happens is, as he is healing his feminine energy, his inner masculine is rising. But the feminine has to be respected, honored, and recognized first. So it's a many-layered journey. So as he's healing his feminine, his inner masculine is rising and anchoring in, but he's also recognizing the feminine as the counterpart. He's also recognizing the partner. So where there had been maybe a block, where there had been a stubbornness and avoidance, maybe in your connection there was ghosting, or there was in and out, that runner chaser energy. Now he's recognizing the feminine as she's always been, but that he wasn't able to see because of his own distortions, the own distorted energy. So now, because all that shadow is being integrated, being faced, which is kind of where they've been, now it's turning into light. He's integrated that to the light so that he's able to hold the container and hold the space to be able to see the feminine in her light and recognize her as his counterpart. So that's where this lyric is coming in. She likes me for me. She loves me for me. I've only ever just tried to be me, and now it's like I can see her. So where they were kind of holding up their hand, pushing it away, putting walls up, because they didn't feel safe within themselves to be fully seen, which the feminine has always done. That's been a gift of the feminine. We've always said the feminine can see the past, present, and future versions of the divine masculine, has always seen the soul of the masculine. Doesn't mean that you have to like their actions. It doesn't mean that you have to always like their human self or their ego self that they operate from, but that's where all the love has always been, the forgiveness, the peace, the harmony, because you've always seen the soul of them underneath. You've always seen beneath the masks, and that was very uncomfortable for a masculine that was not connected to themselves or their own inner feminine energy. So now that that's all healing, they're able to see the feminine and feel the feminine in essence. And there's this recognition that's been coming online. So we're going to start the reading with that. It feels incredibly profound. I'm going to use regular tarot, I think, today. We're going to use this regular tarot deck. I just want to do a quick check-in and see what's going on with the energies. What's going on with both of these counterparts. Yeah, I don't want to do oracle. I think we're going to just use tarot today. It's a really beautiful energy. It really feels like there's this acceptance. And as the feminine's accepting herself and even empowering herself, the masculine is just stepping up. Now, I always say you can take this for your inner masculine and inner feminine. You can take this for your counterpart to understand what your masculine or feminine are going through, or you can take this for the global collective, but there's a real shift that is happening, and I feel like this eclipse energy really illuminated a lot. Whether it was healing or whether it was an empowering energy, or maybe it was both, it really illuminated quite a lot for both, to be able to really see each other as you are, to really accept and love each other as you are, but coming from that place of soul, that soul recognition. I always say when you're coming into union, you're going to have to get to know each other again. And the reason for that is because you're different versions of yourself. Your energy has shifted. You've gone through a transformation. And I'm not talking surface level get to know each other. Like, you still have your likes, your dislikes, all that stuff, your compatibility as humans. But I mean the energy. How do you resolve conflict? How do you communicate? That's what's going to be different, because that's what you learn along your ascension journey. And so when you're coming into communication, when you're coming into physical partnership especially, and this will be a process, and I'm feeling for many, it's going to be a process that's going to be evolving over this next year. We talked about June, we talked about September being pivotal months in the last reading. I feel like what's happening is you're going to have to, again, get to know each other again, but it's like coming back to the beginning. Remember when you were activated to your journey and you heard them for the first time, or your eyes met for the first time? It was this recognition of love. And what were you doing when you were seeing each other, when you were looking face to face at each other for the first time? At the very least, when you were activated to your ascension journey, you saw yourself. You saw each other reflected. You saw yourself reflected in each other. You saw the purity of each other. You saw the love of each other. And again, it's just your human stuff that gets in the way. The old patterns, the old programming, the old habits, the traumas, the wounding, the distortions. That's what this journey is meant to clear. It's meant to clear all of that, what I like to call soul sludge, any of the beliefs that might have served you at one time, but don't serve you anymore in this new version of you. That's what the healing is. The healing is a remembering of who you truly are on the soul level, and that's where you reconnect with your counterpart with that sense of recognition. Because you've been through this journey of clearing out all that soul sludge. Now it's like you're recognizing each other again. And I'm just seeing a masculine that has been in hermit mode, withdrawing, and just really self-focused to work on themselves, to be looking at their shadows. But as they're looking at their shadows, they're also feeling their feminine and seeing her light. Again, and that's when you're looking at your counterpart, you're seeing yourself reflected back. And if you're not able to love yourself, if you're not honoring of yourself, if you're not living in your true authenticity, then if you're looking at somebody else, you're going to see their shadows you're going to see your shadows versus your light. And so I feel like that's what integrates. Divine Feminine, you always saw the light in the masculine. And I feel like, Death card, transformation. And I feel like now, they might have looked at you in the distortions and seen the shadows, and that's why they were doing like some of the pushing away. Again, this is a very layered journey. So there's a couple of reasons why they were pushing you away, but for the context of this reading, that's why, because they weren't able to fully see themselves, and now they're starting to integrate their own light, which is enabling them to recognize you, see you in the divinity that you are, and the love that you've always been, and the connection for what it is and has always been, which is pure love. So let's see what's going on. Yeah. So the Three of Pentacles, I was wanting to get a union energy first before we dive into the masculine and feminine. The union, this is a union card for me. It's the collaboration, the cooperation, the partnership. There might have been times, Divine Feminines, you've done this too, where you might have put each other on pedestals, where you raised each other up. And especially with counterparts, you do this, right? Because again, you're seeing aspects of yourself in each other. You're seeing love. You're seeing, just love. You're seeing love. And so you might have raised each other on pedestals, but that's not what a true partnership is. And so now you get to a certain part of the journey where you stop doing that, and you allow for that interdependence. You allow for that harmony. You allow for that, not quite equality, the balance. That's what it is. It doesn't feel quite like the heaviness of equality, but it feels like pure balance. It's the king and the queen energy, and there's not one above the other. If you look at history, queens often had a lot of influence when it came to their king because of the wisdom that she carried, the codes that she carried. And so the king would often turn to the queen for her advice, for her insight, for her understanding, in order to be the leader, the warrior that he is. And I'm specifically speaking of Guinevere and King Arthur. That example always comes through for me as the epitome. You can also look at it from the context of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene being partners. Now, not in the context of religion and not in the context that we have known it through centuries of patriarchal control, but through the essence of divine energy. Mary Magdalene, she had her own wisdom. She had her own insight. She was brought up in the mystery schools. So she had her own abilities. She was a match. She was a partner, a sacred partner to Yeshua. And that goes in other couples as well. Isis and Osiris, for example. Anyway, so this is all about partnership. This is all about that balance between the two, where you might have been putting each other on a pedestal. Now you're both accepting each other, accepting yourselves, and through that acceptance, it's this union. It's this beautiful union of energies that's coming through here. So let's see. Don't forget, I'm putting links of interest in the description box. I was just called to share the Soul Merge reading, channeling that we've done over on Susan Dawn Ascension Connections from a year or so ago. All of my readings are meant to be timeless, and especially those sacred channelings are meant to be timeless. So I'll be continuing to do some reposts if you guys have missed anything, but make sure that you're following over there as well. That's where we do deeper dives into the Sacred Union Twin Flame energy with regards to the Ascension journey. And that's always kind of the lens through which I'm going to be teaching and have been teaching. All right, so let's see what's going on for the Divine Masculine at this time. Yeah. Ooh. I like this energy, the Six of Wands energy, the Emperor. Not surprised to see him. And the Five of Pentacles. Let me just get another card. I feel like there's something else. Okay. I like this. Did I drop anything else? No. Okay. I really like this, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So we have the Six of Wands, the Emperor, the Five of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. The Six of Wands is an energy of victory, success, but it's also one of recognition, isn't it? Recognizing the battles that you've been through and coming out the other side of that to become the Emperor. And where they were left out in the cold, now he's recognizing that he's held the key all along. If you've been with me for a while, especially over the past year or so, you know that we've been channeling the Lock and Key energy. You can go through my playlist to find those readings. But the Lock and Key energy is recognizing that you've always held the key, number one, to yourself, and number two, to this union, to each other's hearts. You've always held that key. And that's what the Divine Masculine is realizing, that where they had left themselves out in the cold, maybe through self-sabotage, maybe through destructive elements, now they're realizing that they can start fresh, they can start over, that they have the key to do this. I'm getting this, it's interesting. I I know it's meant to be like a perspective thing for this card, but you see how tiny the landscape is and how giant he is? It really is giving this energy of like a giant. It feels like larger than life. And it feels like there's this rebirth energy. Now, no matter what his circumstances, his physical circumstances are, there's this rebirth energy that's coming through where he's beginning to have courage, he's beginning to have the strength, and he's beginning to have the awareness of, oh, I can change my life, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. And that is what's going to be the major catalyst for the divine masculines, is that realization of, I can change my life. Look at all the battles that I've fought. Look at all the battles that I've come through to be who I am now. And where I was repeating patterns, leaving myself out in the metaphorical cold, I don't have to do that anymore. The masculine might have been through financial loss, some kind of other physical loss. There might have been illness or circumstances. Whatever this was, there was some kind of a significant loss, lack, and scarcity that they had been living in. And that was a victimhood that kept perpetuating and perpetuating and perpetuating. And they had to break free from that cycle within their own mindset in order to break free from that cycle within the physical. And that's what they've been doing. They've been breaking free from that cycle. That's the battles that they're overcoming, and that's the victory that they are now kind of heralding in their own hearts and their mindsets. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be a little bit challenging as they're going through this rebirth, or as they're manifesting and grounding this into their physical world. That's because it's a beginning, and beginnings are usually a little bit harder, but they're gaining the strength now, they're gaining the courage to own that for themselves and to make those changes. You know, I've always said, well, not always, but through my experiences, I have learned, see, you can always start fresh, and it starts with the mindset. So I've shared a lot about my experiences with illness, and it felt like my world got turned upside down. And I've experienced that many times in my life from many different catalyst events. It feels like your life is turned upside down, but like in a negative, you know. Maybe you lose money, maybe you get sick, maybe you have an accident, maybe, you know, any number of things happens that we view from the human perspective in a negative mindset, right? But I began to think, well, you know, I've experienced all this kind of like negative stuff, you know, from one day to the next. It's like my life gets turned upside down, but can it happen the other way too? Can't life just get better? Can't life turn, you know, another 180 degrees and or is it 360? Can it turn around again in like a better way too? If our realities can change instantaneously for the negative, then it can just as well change instantaneously for the positive. So I feel like this divine masculine is a warrior. And I feel like where they have been in lack, where they have been in scarcity, I feel like they're beginning to overcome that, and where have been overwhelming, I'm also hearing, they're beginning to overcome that because of a change in mindset, a shift in mindset that's allowing them to say, you know what, I've been through challenges before, but I know that I can overcome it, and I know that I can change my life. And even though it might feel a little bit challenging, and it will be a process, it will be an evolution, I can keep changing my life. And it's like, take step by step, keep letting it unfold, and you know, you're going to look back in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, and you're going to see that the starting point, as long as you have that shift in mindset and you begin taking action from that starting point, that's where everything changes. And I feel like that's what the masculine is really beginning to understand here. This is their starting point. What's going on for the feminines? What's going on for the feminines? We have the 8 of Swords. We have the Hermit. So interesting. What's going on for the feminines? I don't feel those cards. Let's get one more card for the feminine. Thank you. Okay. I was going to say, I don't feel this energy. This is weird. I'm like, this is interesting. I don't necessarily feel this energy. I said, I'm feeling to myself, I'm feeling more of like that motivation, that push, that inspiration. I'm feeling movement. I said, what is this Eight of Swords and this Hermit energy coming through? I feel like Divine Feminine's where you were trapped, where you were kind of in an introspective energy, you're coming out of that. That's where the Eight of Wands is coming through. You also have the King of Wands, but I like that paired with the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck, because this is you. Remember when I was saying the feminine really anchoring into her inner union? She is tuned into her intuition, but taking action, guided action. That's the balance of the masculine and the feminine. Feminine being the High Priestess, masculine being the King of Wands that takes action, but taking action by listening to your inner guidance. Not taking action because logic says so, or not taking action because you're trying to control a situation or force a situation. It's a very relaxed energy that I feel like you're coming into. And I want to say this now. If you're not feeling this yet, it's okay. I have timeless readings here on the channel. This is just maybe what's to come for you if you're not feeling this yet. So your process is going to be your own. Remember, you're never in competition with anybody. Your journey is your journey, and it's perfect for you, for what it is that you're experiencing, what it is that you're clearing, what it is that you're healing. Again, these are just pieces of the puzzle for what might be to come, what you might expect, or to help you navigate this journey. So please don't ever compare yourself to anybody else's journey. Keep focused on the joy that your own journey can bring, and keep focused on your path. So I feel like this is the feminine and the masculine in balance, and I feel like that's what you're breaking free from. Where you felt trapped, it was only a belief. You were only trapped within your mind. And where you had been going through this process of like this internal process, a lot of you guys were with me where this past winter, especially from, I want to say like December into even March, we might still be coming out of this energy. Some of us now, we were in a hermit mode ourselves. It was very introspective. It was very internalized. We were called to keep our circle small. And I feel like we're still called to keep our circle small. We're still called to keep things sacred, especially because there's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of distraction. So as you feel called to keep going within, keep succeeding in the silence, so to speak. Doesn't mean that you have to be silent, because that's the other extreme, but trust your intuition when it comes to expressing yourself. Trust your intuition and where you're being guided when it comes to your next steps. That's this Eight of Wands energy. There is a lot of forward momentum, a lot of forward motion, but you're doing so from a place of real balance, real harmony, and real peace now, because you're getting out of those old beliefs that were keeping you stuck, that were keeping you trapped. And that's part of what the Hermit energy was. It was an internal process that is now catching up to your physical world for forward motion, for forward momentum. I want to get a little bit more for the Divine Feminine. What else is going on for the Divine Feminine? Yeah, you've been ending cycles left and right and left and right. And with the Six of Pentacles, it's two messages here. Ending cycles that were overwhelming to you, that were burdening you, almost like feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. And you could have been putting the weight of your connection on your shoulders, or the weight of situations or circumstances on your shoulders. But that's also what you're breaking free from. And that's been, again, part of a process that's been ongoing. Remember that your ascension journey is a constant process, and it's an evolution. And evolution in and of itself is a process. It's a journey. It's not a destination. If you're looking at it as something, as a destination that's out here that you're trying to grasp, then it's always going to be, it's like the goalposts are always going to be moving. You're never going to reach it. It's about being present and loving your journey, loving yourself where you are right here, right now. The present is your point of power. And so the more that you anchor into, okay, what is life showing me now? What am I experiencing now? And what's the opportunities from this? And loving your life as it is now. And even if it's less than ideal, find the gratitude in the little things. Find the lessons, the opportunities, the blessings in the little things, and let that amp up. Let that energy keep building until you're creating and manifesting the life, the ideal life that you do want. So it doesn't mean that, everything is going to be perfect. It just means that you are recognizing the blessings, that you're recognizing the opportunities, that you're recognizing the moments of joy. When I was very sick, I did not see a future for myself. I was dying, so I didn't see a future for myself, but I wanted one. And so every single day I made sure I was in a lot of darkness and a lot of suffering at the time. And so I made sure that there was something every day to motivate me. And whether it was a TV show I wanted to watch, or a book I still wanted to read, or whether it was just one more moment of cuddling and loving my dog. And I'm emotional about that because my dog, you guys know my Riley passed a couple of years ago, but he is still so much in my heart. He was my best friend, and he truly was, in my darkest days, my saving grace. So it doesn't have to be as deep as that. It doesn't have to be as stark as that. But keep building that momentum for yourself of what is it that brings you joy, and keep building on that joy. And it doesn't have to be joy. It could be excitement. It can be love. It could be, seeing your friends or seeing your family, or spending a night cuddled in bed with your favorite movie or favorite book. Just keep building on that connection to yourself, on that joy, and it's going to build into your whole life, because everything is interconnected here and it builds upon itself. So if things have felt overwhelming, there's a balance that's coming in. The second message that was coming in is the Six of Pentacles can also be an energy of imbalance, where you're overgiving, you're people pleasing, you're sacrificing, and that ties into the former message too of where were you overburdened, where were you overwhelmed, where were you constantly giving. That's the cycle that you're ending here too. Okay, so let's see a little bit more about the Divine Masculine. How's the Divine Masculine feeling about the Divine Feminine? If that's not indicative of this energy, she likes me for me. It's this joyful energy of exclamation and declaration. It's like she likes me for me. Oh my gosh, yes. Like, I'm realizing this. I'm understanding this. And again, this could be your inner masculine and feminine, where you're really accepting yourself and loving yourself. But if you're considering yourself a twin flame, or your sacred partner, then, as you recognize one thing for yourself, it shifts your connection as well, because you are that one soul. And the feminine, of course, energetically leads this. And so I feel like Divine Feminine, you are at the forefront. I feel like the Divine Masculines are very self-focused right now. They're looking at their own shadows, but I feel like you're at the forefront. I feel like they are seeing you, everything that you have been sharing with them, everything that you have been, everything that you are. Like, we've always said you're kind of like a guiding light for the Divine Masculine. That's what this feels like. And you see the two counterparts, recognizing this connection, recognizing the counterpart connection. Might not have the conscious words, but the masculine, remember, doesn't need to. Part of the feminine's wounding of control is trying to have them see or understand this journey the way you do, Divine Feminine, but they don't have to, because they're going to go through their ascension. They're going to go through their journey in the way that is right for them. It's going to be from the opposite end of the spectrum, from the opposite side of the coin. So they don't have to use the words twin flames. They don't have to use the terms sacred connection and union and stuff like that. That's your terminology that you understand it from, but they're going to understand it intuitively. They're going to understand it within themselves. And you might think that just because you're not using the same terms that you're not on the same page, but especially when you're having communication, or if you come into that physical reconciliation, tune into the energy. Are you on the same page energetically? And that's where communication is going to be important. There has to be human communication to build that trust and build that intimacy, and to make sure you're on the same page, but it doesn't have to be using the same language. Okay? It's the energy. It's the intention. It's the heart that speaks, and the heart that you hear. Divine Feminine, how are you feeling about the masculine? I feel like you're kind of side-eyeing the divine masculine, like, is this real? Is this real? You've been through a battle, divine feminine, just like your divine masculine's been through a battle. It has been a journey for you, and you might be a little bit suspicious. You might be a little bit wary of this. It might be exhausting. It might make you feel a bit jaded and cynical at times. But I do feel like keep trusting your intuition, keep following your path. I very much feel like there's an unfolding that's happening here. Oh my goodness. There's an unfolding that's happening here, and we're not meant to be in tune with everything that's happening. It's like we can see the bigger picture, but we might not have all the puzzle pieces, right? And so that's where we have to get comfortable in the uncertainty. That's where we have to trust our intuition and the unfolding, and just keep step by step following the path wherever it leads. That's the divine feminine energy, trust and faith and acceptance. So divine feminine, I feel like you might be a little bit side-eyeing the masculine because of the journey that you've been through, and I feel like that's completely justified from the human perspective, so it's fair. But the King of Pentacles, I feel like that's masculine energy for me. I feel like you can trust where it's going because you can trust yourself now. And don't ever forget that trust within yourself. Anything we need to know for the union? Page of Swords. Yeah, many of you guys are going to have some communication or some insight when it comes to your connection. Again, this eclipse energy is illuminating so much, and that's going to continue. It's going to continue. It's going to continue. It's going to illuminate. And I'm also hearing it's going to clear the past. It's going to clear any regret, any pain, and bring about this sense of balance to the connection. The sense of balance within the self. Yeah, balance, healing, clearing. There's so much that's being illuminated right now. This is a healing energy, but it's a healing energy in that union. And you don't have to be in physical union or communication. Remember, you're feeling the union energy within yourself first. You're feeling the union energy first. So don't think that you have to be in communication with your counterpart in order to feel that union energy, because it's an energy. And if you have something to say to your masculine, say it to yourself. Say it. Write it in a notebook. Say it out loud. What is it that you feel like you need to express? Express it. Express it to yourself. Because your counterpart, as part of you, will naturally receive that in some way. Yeah, so I feel like there's a lot of healing energy and a lot of clearing energy that's coming on the heels of this eclipse. All right, we're going to end this here. We're not going to do a deep dive. I feel like this was just yeah, look. The Six of Swords. Calmer waters, moving into clearer energy, more peaceful energy with each other after a lot of conflict, inner conflict especially, a lot of battles. This is moving towards more clarity, more peace, more harmony together. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Okay, so we're going to end this here. Make sure that you are staying tuned. Make sure you subscribe. And we have a lot that is coming up, so don't miss anything. Sending lots and lots of love and lots of light.